If you want to learn how to create this box selling system where you can pick up a box, put it on shelf and then sell it for profit, make sure to stay until the end of the video to find out how to do it. Or if you're just lazy, you can buy it on my Patreon, first link in the description. Enjoy the video. Okay, so first of all, insert a part. And you will make that part 2 by 2 by 2. And I will also change the material to sand and give it a bit of a color. So something like this. And then you can even duplicate it and just resize it. So something like that. So this is like that tape that is on the packaging. Get like whitish color. Okay. And you can even like group those two straight away. Rename the model box. And basically this is kind of the size we want for the players, and it will also have an animation that they're like holding it. And now the next thing we need is I will just rename this part into primary. Select the primary part thing on the box and select the primary. And now we'll also need to select these two, go to the plugins, and if you don't already have this plugin, I will link it down below in the description. And whilst you are there, you can also check out my Patreon. It has some other like systems and models and stuff. And just click on instant weld when you have this plugin. And now we welded these two, so they will like stay attached to each other even when the player is holding it. Select those two again, because we need to change a few things. So first of all, you don't want to have N-cord on, so if it's selected, select it so it's off. Can collide also needs to be off, and select the massless and click on, just so when the players are like holding it, it doesn't drag them down or anything like that. Okay, so now the next thing, you will need to make your animation. I already have an animation, so just to kind of show it to you how you will make it. First of all, insert a rig. It can either be R15 or R6. Depends on what your game is. If you don't know how to like change that, go to the avatar and avatar settings, and then on these three dots you can select it if it's R15 or R6 or both, which is kind of tricky in this situation because then you will need probably to have like two animations or something. But I will be showcasing how to make an R6 one. So then go to the animation editor, select your rig, and if this happens and there's like no window, just unselect it, select it again. And you can basically see it's just like on 70 degrees, like holding a box. Go to the animation priority, select the action. You can rename it if you want. Then you will publish it. Here you can switch it to a group if your game is like under a group. So just click on here and select it. And then you can save it. And once it's saved, literally just click on this button to copy the ID. I already made animation before, so I won't be copying this one, but copy it, and then we can close this. And then inside of replicate storage, you can insert an animation, so just type animation, and then paste it inside of this animation ID. And also, if you're creating like a bigger game, or you have other animations inside of your game that are inside of replicate storage, just create a folder so it's like easier and stuff. And now for this box, I think that's it from the box thing. So we can also cut it, or actually no, we're not going to be cutting it yet because we need it to create a shelf. So just insert a new part. We can anchor it this time. We can put this to wood. Also recolor it, something like that. Okay. And basically just create like a basic shelf for now. So something like this. It needs to be wider than the box, keep that in mind. And you can kind of get the length. I don't know, it really depends how many boxes you want to fit, which doesn't really even matter that much, because basically what we're going to be doing is like when a player comes up to the shelf, they click it, and then the box in their hands will just like teleport here, and then after a few seconds it will sell. And we're creating a system where there will be multiple empty slots for boxes, because that way other players can also sell. This is more of like a roleplay system, so a lot of other players can just come up to it and sell, instead of like it being on a player spot or something like that. Just duplicate this once more. So we'll create this stop thing. I will put this kind of here, yeah, okay. And we'll get this box. Okay, like that. And you will select this primary thing, so the main like biggest part, and then duplicate it, and then go down to the size and change it to 0.3, 0.3, 0.3. And now you can see that it's obviously really small, and we will cut it. And of course we actually do need to group this as a shelf first. So rename this to a shelf, insert a new folder. You can rename it points, and then paste the point we just cut out into the points. And I will also rename it point. just so it makes more sense. Okay, so this is basically where the shelves, or not the shelves, but the boxes will be teleporting to. So I will also be using this move, set it to 1 stud, just so it's like easier to move this. So this is 2, let's do 3, so it has some space between them. 3 again, okay, and I think this is kind of good. Is it in the middle? Okay, this is probably in the middle, let's just say it is. So now select this like bottom thing, and also all of these, duplicate it, and okay, something like that. Just see if it has space. Okay, it has enough space, so that's good. So this really depends how many of these positions you want to have. You can have less or more, doesn't really matter, as long as it's like correctly placed on the shelf. Now you can remove this box because we don't really need it anymore. You can actually set this transparency to 0. Take this one from the middle, put it like a bit out, so something like this. Take it out of the folder, and so it's just inside of the shelf model, and rename it proxy. Add a proximity prompt inside. You can rename this to place and this to shelf, just so players kind of know what they're doing. You can mess, I guess, around with this stuff if you want. You can max activation distance, let's do the 7. You can maybe add a hold duration, but I will leave all of this other stuff as it is. Okay, so now we actually do need another thing. We need kind of a place where the boxes will spawn from. So I will just create something like this. I don't know. This will look really weird, but doesn't really matter. Basically just a thing where you can take a box from. So something like this. Okay, like that. Actually, let's just make this properly. Okay, add another proximity prompt, and I'll name this to take box. I don't know, box spawner or something like that. Obviously, if you have another method of like box spawning in your game, then you'll probably need to adjust this script a bit, just so it works for your system as well. So this doesn't really matter how it looks. Maybe in your game you'll have like a bunch of boxes stacked or something like that. But basically, this is a box spawner, so players will come to this. So let's just rename it to box spawner. And now we can actually get to scripting, I guess. And actually, let's just cut this and paste it inside of replicate storage. Again, you can create a folder and put it inside if you need. Insert a script into server script service. We'll rename this to a main, or maybe even in box server or something like that. No, actually, let's do main because we'll also need a module script, and that thing can be called box server. So also copy that name, and while you're inside of the module, you can rename these two things. And you can even add a new function while we're at it. So box server.add box. And I know if you're like new to scripting, this might seem like very confusing how to use module scripts, but don't worry, it will be very easy. And just insert a player here. Okay, so basically what we're going to be scripting now is when a player comes here, they trigger this proximity prompt, they get a box, they get their like animation thing, and then when they come to this shelf, they can like sell it and stuff like that. Okay, so first of all, we'll need a replicated storage, so game get service replicated storage. After that, add a variable called track and leave it empty, so this will be an empty variable for now, and I will explain to you why later. We'll also need a shelf, obviously, workspace.shelf, and a box spawner, box spawner, and we can even like get the animation and the box while we're at it. So maybe box holding equals rs not box holding, and then local box template equals rs not box. Okay, first of all, we need to do game.players.playerAdded connect function, and then we insert a player inside. So basically when a player joins, we get that player, and you can see probably where I'm going with this. So local leader stats equals instance.new. It will be a folder, and this is a way you can parent it. So just write comma and then player, and it will parent the leader stats to the player. Then leader stats.name equals leader stats. Okay, and this is really important that you write it exactly like this if you want that like tab up here on the right top of the screen to show up. Then local money equals instance.new. This can either be a number value or an int value. I'll put a number value for now. And of course parent it to the leader stats. Then money.name equals just money or cash, doesn't really matter. And then money.value, this will be our starting value. So whatever you want the players to spawn with, and I will put 0. And then another thing we need to do is player dot, or actually not the player, but or actually player, it is player dot character added connect function, and we can put basically character model. Yeah, I guess you can just call it character. Okay, and then local torso equals character find for child torso. So we will be needing a torso, which is, if you don't know, basically this like main, okay, not that part, but this main thing, not the humanoid root part. And of course this will depend if your game is like, again, which I set to R6. Yeah, you will need to write upper torso if your game is R15 and torso if it's R6. And now we'll need to local, I don't know, we can call it add for attachment instance.new attachment, and then just add it to torso, and add.name equals, you can call it carry, add.position equals torso.cframe, and then we'll do vector to object space, and we'll add again torso.cframe.look vector times not 1 but 2. Okay, so basically this will be, okay, I'll have a box, let's spawn in a box. So this attachment will literally come right where this pivot is, something like that, so it will be right in front of the player. And we rename it carry because it's like a carry attachment, just so we can find it easily, because inside of the torso there are like more attachments. And we'll also add a current box equals instance.new. This will be an object value. So if you don't know what the object value is, basically just a value that it can, instead of like a number inside or a string, it can have like a whole object, which in this case will be our box. And you can add that to the character. Current box dot name will be just current box, I guess. Current box dot value will be nil, just so we don't get like confused at the start of the game, because at the start players won't have any boxes on them. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything we need. Or actually, oh, actually I just realized we don't actually need this here. Yeah, I can literally, okay, you can literally like cut all of that, go inside the box server module and paste it up here, because, and also copy this and paste it here, because this is where we'll actually be needing this stuff and not inside of this. And we don't use the replicate storage even here, so I guess we can even cut it or actually delete it. And one thing we do need though is box server equals require script.box server. Okay, or actually no, wait, I'm kind of dumb. We do need a box spawner, so cut it again from here, my bad, because the box spawner has the proximity thing. .proxy .proximity prom .trigger ended connect function, put player inside, so this will be the player that triggered it. And now last thing we need to do is box server add box and put player inside, so just so we know which player is adding the box. Okay, and I'm actually pretty sure now this is all of we need to do inside of the main script for now. And now going to the module script. So we already have track, we have box holding, we have box template. Okay, first of all we'll also need to add a new character here, so player.character, or you can even do, or actually no, we don't, because we already have that checked here, so it will of course have a character. But in case if not character, then return end. If character find first child model, then we'll destroy it. And this is basically just so like players don't have like tons of boxes inside of their character, because that doesn't really make sense unless you want to make like a stacking system, but I'm not going to be showcasing that today, so it doesn't really matter. I guess we can get a torso, so character wait for child torso. Again, you might need to change this if it's R15. Call animator equals character.humanoid.animator, and then local carry attachment equals or actually just torso dot, and let's actually do wait for child carry like that. and then local current box equals character. Again, the wage for child again, current box. Okay, so after that, we can actually use this track thing for the first time. So track, or actually equals animator, load animation, and then inside you can put the box holding, which is just the animation that we made earlier, and then you can do track play. And the reason we are putting this track outside of the function and not inside and leaving it empty is because if you have like another function, so for example, I don't know, function box server dot something, I don't know, inside of this, if you copy this track thing, you can literally do stop, and as you can see, it's not underlined with red, so basically you can stop it or play it or do anything you want with it inside of other functions. Okay, then we can do local new box equals box template and then clone. Okay, and I guess AI will be doing everything. I don't know really if I even have that turned on. But then new box, then we need to do set primary part C-frame, and that will be carryat dot world C-frame. So basically attachments have like this world C-frame thing, and we'll use that to determine the position where the box needs to go. And we can also do current box dot value equals new box. So again, this is the object value from before. And then last thing we need to do is actually weld the new box to the character. So instance.new, and make sure to select this weld constraint instead of the normal weld. So weld constraint dot or actually comma new box dot primary part. So we parent it to the primary part, and then weld dot part 0 will be equal to torso, and then weld dot part 1 will be equal to new box dot primary part. Okay, so for now this is pretty much it. So let's just go ahead and test it out a bit. Character is not a valid. Oh, okay, I misspelled it. Yeah, that makes sense. So character like that. I think that's good now. Okay. And when I take it, as you can see, it's like in front of me. I have my little animation, but now we obviously need to script it. So when you come up to this, you can click on the proximity prompt and then you can sell it. And of course, go to the home tab and just click end core on the shell, because it seems to me that I kind of forgot to do that for these models. Okay, so we'll create a new function inside of box server module, sell maybe, or something like that. And actually just cut this shelf and put it inside of here, because it just makes more sense. And then we can do the same thing as with this. So just you can literally just copy this, because it also has a part named proxy here with a proximity prompt, and we'll just do sell and then player inside, so like that. And we can even actually add a sound, like a sound of selling or something, which I don't know if you can even hear now. Okay, like that. Yeah, that sounds good. You can like create a new folder with sounds or something inside the starter GUI. I usually keep the sounds for my games inside the starter GUI, so I think that's the best place. So local sell sound equals player.player GUI.sounds.sell. And basically now what we need to do is just destroy this box, reset it all, and this track needs to also stop playing. And we should also actually kind of put the box on the shelf. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So first of all, we can create another new box, maybe shelf box, just so you don't get confused with the functions. And it will literally be box template, again clone, and then shelf box dot primary part dot can collide equals true, and you can also do shelf box dot primary part dot anchor equals true. So we will need to of course anchor it and all of that. And another thing we should probably add is a folder inside of the shelf itself called boxes, so we can actually store the boxes inside of there. So yeah, let's just go ahead. Okay, well, I'm kind of stupid for this, so copy this again. I'm not really thinking ahead right now, because we do need the shelf itself here, which is kind of stupid. So local boxes equals shelf dot boxes, or actually that can even be outside of this, so you can just put it right here. And we can just do shelf box dot parent equals boxes, and then shelf box set primary part C frame. And so we're literally doing the same thing as here. But we will need to get like a right point. So we'll need actually a new table. So local points relations equals empty table. And before that, actually add local points equals shelf dot points. Yeah, I don't think we have that, so just so we have this, because we'll need to use it now to teleport the boxes. Okay, so we'll close this function. Okay, and we will add a local function now, which we'll call get free points, just so we can actually get all of the like empty spots on the shelves. So for each point is occupied in pairs, and then points relations we can do if not is occupied, then return point. What am I doing? Points. No, bro, I can't type today. Okay, point. And down here you can put return nil, just because if all of them are like occupied, then you can't obviously place it on the shelf. And we'll also need to probably add a new function, box server dot I'll just call it start. I'm not really sure how else you would call this. And we'll basically just need to do for each point in pairs of points, and then we do get children do, and then points relations, and then point inside, and then equals false. So okay, so basically this is just at the start of the game. We'll trigger this once. So let's go ahead inside of the server script and do it like down here dot start. So when the game starts, all of the box points will basically be unoccupied, and when we set it to true, it will be occupied. Okay, so go down to the cell function again, and we'll need to add another thing here. Local point equals get 3 points, and then if not point, okay, I've just copied, then return end. And obviously you can maybe like even add a notification system. I have a video on that, so you can probably connect these two. So if there is no empty points on the shelf, you can like send a notification to the player that let him know that the shelf is full. Down here we can literally do just point.cFrame, and then points relations, and then the point equals true, and then we can like play this sound, I guess. And now what we can do is add a new service, local debris equals game get service debris. Go down here, debris add item, and it will be a shelf box. And I don't know, after like maybe 2 seconds or something like that, doesn't really matter. So basically, if you know debris colon add item, what it does is after 2 seconds it will delete this shelf box instance. And then after that we can just copy and paste this and set it to false. Okay, so go back to the main script. Okay, we actually already did this, so yeah, I think that's it. Let's now test it. I might have some errors here, so we might need to fix stuff. Take a box and we place it. Oh, okay, obviously I forgot to actually delete this and add the money, the most important thing, but at least there's no errors, so that's kind of good. Okay, so right before this shelf box thing, and right after this point, because if you do it before it will just be kind of weird, player.character find first child, which is a model, and then destroy it. Of course you can either do a model or find first child and then box. I'm just doing this in case you like rename your boxes or something like that. Have in mind, if you have like other models instead of character, you might need to like go around it and find another way of destroying it. And after this, maybe down here or something else, I don't know. Yeah, we can do it like this. Player.leader stats dot money dot value plus equal, and then I don't know, 100 or something. If you want, you can even like, if you want to have like lots of boxes, you can like add an attribute for each one. So we can do, for example, number, and we can do price, save it. And if you put like 100 or something like that, then what you can do is actually, let's then make a local player box equal to this. So cut this, paste down here, get this, and actually like this, and then get attribute price. But one thing you will need to put this destroy later, because otherwise it doesn't really make sense, because you can get a attribute from a destroyed thing. And of course the most important thing, get this track thing, and after this you can literally just do stop, and that's it. So we take a box, the animation plays, we come here, we place it, we get the money, and after 2 seconds this box has disappeared. This way you can kind of spam it. Okay, they're in the same spot, which is actually not that good. It's really not good. We don't want that. Okay, so let's fix that now. Okay, and this is actually probably happening because of this, because the breeze doesn't delay the things after it, so that doesn't really make sense. So we won't be using the breeze, I guess. We'll do task.delay function, or actually first it's duration, so 2 seconds, and then a function. And yeah, you can copy this, paste it here, we can delete this, we don't really need it anymore, and the player box, and then destroy. And to actually make it even better, because this might cause some problems, we can do local used box equals, or actually used point equals point, and we'll set that to false. And we saw this player box, I don't know why I put player box, it should be shelf box, but we won't be doing shelf box, but rather, I don't know, shelf copy or something like that, and put it to be a shelf box, and then paste it inside the shelf box. Okay, take a box, put it on the thing. I can't really showcase it because they're deleting too late, so let's put, I don't know, maybe 10, okay. Okay, so now it takes 10 seconds instead of 2, so when I put it, and as you can see, when it's full, I don't get the money. Okay, I just did, but because it a slot opened up. But when it's full, I can't place it, the box doesn't go anywhere, and I don't get the money. So that's it from this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, check out my Patreon for other models, or if you want this whole model, you can literally probably just buy it or something. And thanks for watching.